Welcome to Dive Zone, your space to go deeper into English, one episode at a time. If you're enjoying the journey, make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a deep dive into language learning.
Hey Lily, have you ever thought about how different life would be if everyone actually did what they loved?
Oh, absolutely, Sam. That's the dream, isn't it? Waking up every day excited to work because it doesn't feel like work. But unfortunately, not everyone gets to live that way.
Right. And I think part of it is that we're taught to prioritize security over passion. Go for the job that pays, not the job that fulfills. But the more I think about it, the more I realize how essential it is to love what you do. Not just for success, but for your mental health, your creativity, and even your relationships. Hey Lily, have you ever thought about how different life would be if everyone actually did what they loved?
That's true. And also, sometimes we confuse doing what we love with doing what's easy. But the truth is, doing what you love can be challenging, exhausting even. But the difference is, you feel alive while doing it.
Exactly. You know, there's a quote I read once. It said, "Choose a job you love and you'll never have to work a day in your life." But I think it's more accurate to say, choose a job you love and the work becomes meaningful, even when it's hard.
That's a better way to put it. Because no matter how much you love something, there will be tough days. But when you love what you do, those challenges feel worth it. They don't break you. They grow you.
And you know what's interesting? Sometimes you don't even realize you love something until you try it. Passion is discovered, not just chosen.
That's such a great point. We often expect passion to strike like lightning, but sometimes it's more like a seed. You plant it, nurture it, and over time, it becomes something you can't imagine living without.
Totally agree. I think many people are waiting for permission to pursue what they love. They're waiting for the perfect time, or for someone to tell them, yes, go for it. But that moment rarely comes. You have to create it.
And sometimes people are afraid that doing what they love won't be practical. Like, how will I pay the bills? How will I survive? But the truth is, when you truly love something, you'll find a way to make it work. It might not be easy or instant, but it's possible.
So true. And let's not forget the second part of our title today. Love what you do. Because not everyone is in a position to switch careers right away or follow their passion full time. But they can still bring passion into what they're already doing.
Yes, that's the underrated secret. You can bring love to anything you do. Whether you're a teacher, a cleaner, a programmer, or a parent, you can choose to show up with energy, kindness, and intention.
That's mindset magic. Because the way you look at your work changes your experience of it. If you treat it like a burden, it becomes one. But if you treat it like a purpose, it becomes one too.
And sometimes, by loving what you do, even if it's not your dream job, you open doors. You meet people, you grow skills, and eventually, those paths can lead you to what you love most.
I've seen that happen so many times. Someone starts out in a job just to make ends meet, but because they show up with heart and excellence, they end up finding their true calling through that experience.
So, the key takeaway from this first part is, don't wait for the perfect situation to do what you love. Start now, even in small ways. And if you can't do what you love yet, love what you do as best you can. Both paths lead to fulfillment.
You know, Lily, I want to dive deeper into the psychology of this. Because when we talk about passion and love, we're also talking about something neurologically and emotionally real. People thrive when they feel connected to what they're doing. It's tied to purpose.
That's so true. Our brains light up when we engage in work that aligns with our interests and values. There's even research that shows how people who feel purposeful live longer, healthier lives. It's like your whole system functions better when your heart is in the game.
Yes. And that's why people burn out more quickly in jobs they hate. Because it's not just the workload, it's the emotional toll of spending so much time on something that doesn't matter to you.
And the reverse is also true. Some people work 12-14 hours a day on what they love and feel energized. Not because it's easy, but because it's meaningful. That's the real difference.
I also think it's worth mentioning that Doing what you love doesn't always have to mean making it your job. For some people, their job is just a job, and their passion lives in their hobbies, their side projects, their community work.
Yes, that's such an important reminder. We don't all need to monetize our passions. Sometimes loving something purely without the pressure of performance or income is even more freeing.
And for others, merging the two, turning passion into profession, is incredibly fulfilling. But either way, the key is to honor what you love, make space for it, let it feed your soul.
So many people lose sight of that. They get caught up in the grind and forget what lights them up. They stop writing, painting, dancing, exploring. But those things, those passions, are what make life rich.
I think it comes down to this. Doing what you love isn't just about your career. It's about your whole life. It's about choosing joy, meaning, and alignment in as many areas as you can.
And loving what you do is a daily decision. It's choosing to see the value, the lessons, the opportunities even in the mundane. It's deciding to bring your best self to the table no matter what.
I love that. And for anyone listening right now who feels stuck, who feels like they're just going through the motions, know that it's never too late to realign. You can start small. Start with curiosity.
Curiosity is the door to passion. Ask yourself, what makes me lose track of time? What would I do for free? What lights me up? Those answers point you toward your love.
And don't worry if your passion isn't some grand, world-changing mission. Maybe you love baking. Maybe you love helping others organize their space. Maybe you love coding or teaching or storytelling. It all matters. It all counts.
Absolutely. And often, it's the seemingly small things that have the biggest impact. A passionate teacher can change hundreds of lives. A joyful barista can brighten someone's day. Passion is powerful, no matter the form.
So here's a challenge to our listeners. This week, do one thing you love. Just one. No pressure to be perfect or productive. Just do it because it brings you joy. And if you're in a job you don't love, find one moment each day to bring love into it, whether it's smiling at a colleague, improving a small task, or just being present.
I love that. Because over time, those small shifts create big changes. And before you know it, you'll either fall in love with where you are or find your way to where you're meant to be.
Couldn't have said it better. That's it for part 1. In part 2, we're going to talk about how to overcome the fear of doing what you love, because fear is one of the biggest roadblocks, isn't it?
Oh yes. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. We'll unpack all of that in the next section. So, stay tuned.
Welcome back, everyone. In the last part, we talked about the importance of doing what you love and loving what you do. Now let's dive into one of the biggest obstacles that holds people back from pursuing their passion: fear.
Oh yes. Fear is a huge one, and it comes in so many forms. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of financial instability. It's like the invisible wall that stands between us and what we really want to do.
Exactly. And the ironic part is, the more we care about something, the more fear shows up. If you feel nervous or scared about pursuing something, chances are it matters to you.
That's so true. Fear isn't necessarily a sign that you should back off. Sometimes it's actually a signal pointing you toward growth. If you weren't scared, it probably wouldn't challenge you enough to transform you.
100%. And yet so many people freeze at the first sign of fear. They start telling themselves stories like, "I'm not talented enough," or "I'm too old," or "What will people think?" These narratives become their prison.
Yep. And what's wild is that most of those fears aren't even based on facts. They're just assumptions. Limiting beliefs we picked up somewhere, maybe from school, family, society. But just because we think them doesn't mean they're true.
So what can we do when fear shows up? I think the first step is to get curious about it. Ask yourself, what exactly am I afraid of? Naming the fear gives you power over it.
Right. Because when fear is vague, it feels enormous. But when you shine a light on it, it shrinks. Like, I'm afraid of failing. Okay, What would failure look like? How bad would it really be? Could you recover? Chances are, you could.
Most of the time, the worst-case scenario isn't even that bad. And if you dig deeper, you realize that the real fear isn't failure. It's what failure means to you. Maybe it would make you feel unworthy. Maybe you think it'll prove the doubters right.
And that's where the deeper work begins. Understanding where those beliefs come from and realizing they don't define you. Because no matter what happens, you're still valuable, still growing, still learning.
I love that. You know, something that's helped me is reframing failure. Instead of seeing it as a dead end, I try to see it as data. If something doesn't work out, it's just information. I adjust and try again.
That's such a healthy mindset. And honestly, if you look at most successful people, writers, athletes, entrepreneurs, they've failed so many times. But they didn't let fear stop them. They used failure as fuel.
And often, the people who judge us the most are the ones too afraid to try themselves. So we need to stop worrying about their opinions. Their voices don't matter more than your dreams.
Exactly. At the end of the day, you have to live with yourself, not them. And you don't want to wake up one day realizing you lived your whole life playing it safe just to please others.
So here's a practical idea. If you're afraid to start something you love, break it down into tiny steps. Don't quit your job tomorrow and try to build a business overnight. Just start small. 1 hour a week, one post, one sketch, one song.
Yes, that's how momentum builds. Small actions lead to confidence, and confidence leads to bigger actions. But you have to start, even if it's messy and awkward.
And let's talk about another type of fear, the fear of success. It sounds strange, but it's real. Some people are actually afraid of what will happen if they succeed. Will they lose friends? Will expectations rise? Will they be able to handle it?
So real. Success can be intimidating. It changes things. But change isn't always bad. Growth always involves a little discomfort. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't grow.
And you don't have to have everything figured out before you begin. Most people learn along the way. No one starts off an expert. You figure things out as you go.
Totally. And the fear of not being good enough, that's one we all carry. But the only way to become good is by doing. You can't improve what you haven't even started.
I want to share something personal here. I used to be terrified of public speaking. I'd avoid it at all costs. But deep down, I really wanted to be a communicator. I wanted to connect with people through words. That's so relatable. What changed for you? I forced myself to say yes to one small opportunity. It was a 5-minute talk at a community event. I practiced for days. I was sweating the whole time. But afterward, I felt alive. That one small win gave me courage to keep going.
That's the key. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's taking action in spite of it. And with every step, the fear loses its grip.
And I think it's important to surround yourself with people who believe in you. Community matters. If you're around negative voices all the time, your confidence will suffer. Find people who cheer you on.
And if you can't find them right away, be your own cheerleader. Celebrate your tiny wins. Speak kindly to yourself. That inner dialogue makes a huge difference.
We can't underestimate the power of mindset. If you believe you can grow, you will. If you believe you're stuck, you'll stay stuck. Our thoughts shape our reality.
So true. And affirmations help with that. Simple phrases like, I am capable, I am learning, I am allowed to try, can retrain your brain over time.
That's why we say do it scared. Don't wait for the fear to go away. Do it while your heart's pounding. Do it with the shaky voice. That's where growth happens.
And here's something else. Not everything has to be perfect. Perfectionism is often fear in disguise. You don't need the perfect website or logo or plan. Just start. Let it be messy. You'll improve as you go.
Messy action is better than no action. And often what you create will inspire others. Your courage will give them permission to be brave too.
I love that. Because when you follow your passion, it's not just for you. It ripples out. It touches lives. You become a light for others.
So let's recap part 2. Fear is normal, but it's not the boss of you. Name your fear. Break it down. Take small steps, find community, shift your mindset, and most importantly, do it scared.
Because your dreams are worth the risk. Your passion is worth the effort. And your happiness is worth the discomfort of growth.
Coming up in part 3, we'll talk about how to stay consistent and committed when the passion fades or when motivation is low. Because even when you love what you do, there are days it feels hard.
Oh, yes. Passion will get you started, but habits will keep you going. We'll share tips on building discipline, navigating creative blocks, and staying connected to your why.
Stay tuned and remember, fear might ride with you, but it doesn't get to drive. Welcome back, everyone. We've talked a lot about discovering what you love and loving what you do, but now let's dive into the part most people avoid: the grind. The day-to-day effort, the obstacles, the discipline it takes to keep going.
Ah, yes, the less glamorous side of passion. It's easy to romanticize doing what you love, but in reality, it includes lots of behind-the-scenes work. It's not always fun or exciting, and sometimes it's just plain hard.
Exactly. There's this misconception that if you're passionate, then it should always feel good. But that's not true. Even when you love what you do, there will be tough days. Long nights, creative blocks, setbacks.
That's why grit matters. Passion starts the journey, but discipline keeps it going. It's about showing up even when you're not in the mood. Doing the work, day in and day out. That's what builds momentum.
And honestly, the process itself is what shapes you. You grow when you push through resistance, when you learn how to keep going even when results aren't immediate.
One thing that helps me is reconnecting with why I started in the first place. When the grind feels overwhelming, I pause and remind myself of the bigger purpose, the impact I want to create, the message I want to share.
That's powerful. Purpose gives you fuel, and so does having a system, a daily rhythm that supports your creative flow, whether it's blocking out time, setting clear goals, or celebrating small wins.
Totally. And speaking of systems, let's not forget the power of routine. It may sound boring, but a good routine creates consistency, and consistency is the secret sauce.
Definitely. When I was building my business, it wasn't the big dramatic moves that made the difference. It was the daily habits, writing every day, learning something new, engaging with my community. It all added up.
I love that. And I think it's important to mention that passion doesn't mean nonstop excitement. Sometimes it's quiet, steady, a slow burn rather than fireworks.
Yes, and that slow burn is sustainable. The danger comes when we chase constant highs. That's not love, that's infatuation. Real love, even for work, includes patience and resilience.
Let's also talk about something else: evolution. Because doing what you love isn't static. You grow and your interests shift. Your work evolves with you.
That's so true. What you love at 20 might not be what fuels you at 30 or 40, and that's okay. You're allowed to pivot, to explore new things. Passion doesn't mean staying stuck.
It's about following your curiosity. If something new excites you, lean into it. Experiment. Explore. That's how creativity stays alive.
And sometimes, you discover new layers of the same passion. Maybe you started as a writer but later fell in love with podcasting. Or you began as a teacher and now coach others. It's all connected.
Yes, passion is a thread, not a box. And if you stay open, you'll find so many ways to express it. You're not limited to one role or one path.
Can we talk about burnout for a moment? Because even when you're doing what you love, burnout is real, especially if you tie your self-worth to your productivity.
Oh, definitely. I've been there, loving what I do but feeling completely drained. It happens when you don't set boundaries, when you forget to rest or take care of yourself.
That's a key point. Self-care is part of the process. You can't pour from an empty cup. And when you love what you do, you sometimes overgive. You want to do more, be more, give more. But without balance, passion turns into pressure.
I've learned to schedule downtime, to walk away when I need a break, to say no when something doesn't feel aligned. That's not quitting. That's honoring your limits.
Yes, rest is productive. It allows you to refuel, to reflect, and to come back stronger. And in the long run, it makes your passion sustainable.
And if you can't find the community you need, create it. Start a group. Host a meetup. Build what you wish existed.
Beautifully said. So, to wrap up this part, doing what you love is a journey filled with highs and lows. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. The grind, the growth, the evolution, all of it shapes you.
And when you embrace it fully, with honesty, discipline, self-care, and community, your passion becomes not just something you do, but part of who you are.
We'll see you in part 4, where we dive deeper into redefining success and sustaining the fire. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone. We've come a long way in this conversation about doing what you love and loving what you do. In the last part, we talked about embracing the grind, building community, and evolving your passion. Now let's take it further and talk about something that can make or break your journey, how you define success.
Oh, this is a big one. We're often conditioned to equate success with money, fame, or some form of external validation. But the truth is, those things don't always bring fulfillment. In fact, they can sometimes distract us from our real purpose.
Absolutely. One of the biggest shifts I had to make was understanding that success is personal. It's not a fixed destination. For some, it might mean financial freedom. For others, it's the ability to wake up and work on something they genuinely care about without pressure.
And the thing is, if you're constantly measuring yourself by someone else's metrics, you'll never feel enough. You'll always be chasing something that isn't even yours to begin with. That's exhausting.
It really is. So, redefining success means asking, what does success mean to me? Is it about impact, balance, joy, growth? Once you have that clarity, your journey becomes more aligned. You stop comparing so much.
I love that. And I'd add, celebrate the small wins. The email you finally sent, the blog you published, the courage to pitch your idea. Every step matters. Those micro successes are the bricks that build the foundation.
Yes, and they add up. People think success is one big breakthrough, but it's usually a lot of tiny steps taken consistently. It's showing up again and again, even when no one's clapping yet.
That's so real. And here's something else. Success doesn't have to be public. Not everything you achieve has to be visible. Some of the most powerful victories are internal, like overcoming self-doubt, learning to say no, or simply choosing peace.
I couldn't agree more. In fact, one of the biggest milestones in my journey was learning to rest without guilt. That's a success, too.
Oh yes, rest. Let's talk about that because it's so undervalued in the hustle culture. Rest isn't the opposite of productivity. It's what makes it sustainable. If you're burnt out, your passion suffers.
Right. We're not machines. If you truly love what you do, you have to protect your energy. And that means having boundaries, taking time off, doing things that recharge you.
Exactly. I used to feel so guilty for not working 24/7 on my creative projects. But then I realized, if I want to be in this for the long haul, I need to treat it like a marathon, not a sprint.
That's the key, longevity. Passion fades if it's not nurtured properly. You can still be passionate and take breaks. In fact, taking breaks can rekindle the passion.
Yup, and sometimes stepping away gives you a new perspective. You come back with fresh ideas, renewed motivation, and a clearer mind.
Let's dive into something else now, dealing with doubt and imposter syndrome. Because let's face it, doing what you love doesn't make you immune to fear or insecurity.
Oh, totally. There have been countless moments where I've questioned myself. Am I good enough? Who am I to do this? But I've learned that doubt doesn't mean stop. It means you're growing.
Yes, and almost everyone goes through it, even the most successful people. Imposter syndrome usually shows up when you're leveling up. It's a sign that you're stepping out of your comfort zone.
I read once that confidence doesn't come from knowing you won't fail. It comes from knowing you'll be okay even if you do. That hit me hard.
That's powerful. And that's why mindset is everything. If you believe that every mistake is a lesson, then failure isn't the end. It's a step forward.
Exactly. And we need to normalize failure. Because if you're doing what you love, there will be experiments that flop, projects that don't take off. That's part of it. It doesn't mean you're not good. It means you're brave.
That's a reframe I love. Failure as bravery. Because it takes guts to try, to put yourself out there, and even more to keep going after a setback.
So, for anyone listening, if you've stumbled recently, know that it's okay. You're not behind. You're learning. You're building resilience.
Let's shift gears a bit and talk about alignment. Because doing what you love can sometimes get tangled in obligations. You start saying yes to things that don't align with your core values, just to keep the momentum going.
Oh yeah, I've been there. Taking on partnerships I wasn't excited about. Saying yes out of fear. And you know what? That drains your creativity. You start resenting the very thing you once loved.
That's why alignment is so important. You have to keep checking in with yourself. Does this still feel right? Am I still on the path that feels true to me?
And if the answer is no, it's okay to pivot. Course correction is part of growth. You're allowed to change your mind.
Yep. That flexibility keeps your passion alive. It keeps things fresh. Doing what you love should evolve with you, not lock you into a box.
Another thing I want to touch on is letting go of perfectionism. That need to make everything flawless can paralyze you. And when you're doing what you love, that pressure can double.
So true. Perfectionism can be the enemy of progress. I've learned that done is better than perfect, because imperfect action still moves you forward.
Yes, and sometimes the raw, messy stuff resonates more than the polished product. People connect with authenticity.
That's the beauty of passion-driven work. It's human, it's alive, and it's okay if it has rough edges. That's what makes it relatable.
So to everyone listening, give yourself permission to be imperfect, to try, to fall, to learn, and to rise again. That's the journey.
And trust yourself. You have something valuable to offer, even if the path is winding, even if the timeline isn't clear.
Keep going. Keep showing up. Not for applause, not for approval, but because your heart is in it. That's enough.
Well said, Lily. We've got one more part to go, part 5, where we'll wrap it all up and share our final thoughts on how to truly thrive while doing what you love.
It's going to be powerful. So don't miss it. And remember, success isn't about being the best. It's about being true to yourself. See you in part 5.
Welcome back to our final part of this deep dive into doing what you love and loving what you do. We've covered discovering your passion, embracing the grind, evolving over time, and setting healthy boundaries. Now let's talk about finding true fulfillment and living your passion fully every day.
Yes, fulfillment. That deep sense of satisfaction and joy that comes from aligning your work with your values, your purpose, and your authentic self. It's the ultimate goal, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that fulfillment doesn't always look like success in the traditional sense. It's not just about money, status, or recognition. Sometimes fulfillment is quiet and personal.
Right. It's that feeling you get when you wake up excited to create, to serve, to contribute. It's knowing that your work matters, to you and maybe to others.
And that's why staying connected to your why is so crucial. Your why evolves too, but it's the foundation. When your daily work aligns with it, you feel energized and at peace.
But how do you maintain that connection, especially when life gets busy or distractions pile up?
Great question. One way is through regular reflection. Journaling, meditating, or simply asking yourself meaningful questions like, is what I'm doing today aligned with my deeper values? Am I growing? Am I helping others?
I love that. Reflection keeps you honest with yourself and helps course correct when you're off track. It's like a compass for your passion journey.
Another key is celebrating progress, not just big milestones, but small wins every day. Did you finish that project? Did you learn something new? Did you help someone? All of that counts.
Celebrating small wins builds momentum and keeps your motivation high. Plus, it's a way to be kind to yourself, to acknowledge effort, not just outcomes.
Exactly. And when setbacks happen, as they inevitably will, having that positive mindset helps you see challenges as opportunities to learn and improve.
That ties back to the power of positive thinking, doesn't it? The belief that even tough times serve a purpose in your growth.
Yes, it's all connected. Doing what you love isn't a straight line. It's full of twists, turns, highs, and lows. But with the right mindset and habits, you can navigate the journey with grace.
And don't forget to keep expanding your skills. Lifelong learning keeps your passion fresh and your confidence strong.
Absolutely. Taking courses, reading, practicing, experimenting, it all adds layers to your craft.
Finally, living your passion fully means embracing your whole self, your quirks, your story, your unique perspective. That authenticity shines through and makes your work meaningful.
Couldn't agree more. When you're authentic, you attract the right opportunities and people. You become a magnet for fulfillment.
So, listeners, as you continue your own journey of doing what you love and loving what you do, remember these keys. Stay connected to your why, reflect regularly, celebrate progress, maintain a positive mindset, keep learning, and be your authentic self.
We hope this series has inspired and equipped you to live a passionate and fulfilling life. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you. Remember to take small steps every day toward your dreams. You've got this.
And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if this podcast has helped you. We'd love to hear your stories and questions, so drop a comment or message anytime.
Until next time, keep doing what you love and loving what you do.
Thanks for watching Dive English Zone. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, drop a comment below, and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any of our upcoming lessons. See you in the next one.